For all you Assassination lovers out there, things are looking good, I gotta say. Obviously, it's still alpha, there's still a lot of things that are not working, or they're not properly implemented, or they're not just there at all. But overall, Assassination feels beautiful. It's smooth, it deals very decent to great damage, even with all of its not working capabilities, so to say. You gotta remember that this is like the, I would say, weakest testing environment, especially with the tuning that is now in the Dragonflight dungeons. A lot of the specs are doing ridiculous damage. We're basically 50 levels above what you can do in a heroic dungeon. But even with those, we're still looking pretty good. Now, you know, this video would not be made possible without the support of our Patreons, but more on that at the end of the video. Let's get into what works for Assassination rogues. Now, one of the coolest things is Shadow Dance being available for Assassination, and this will enable, first of all, ambush and also more damage. So yay, there's things that do not work for Shadow Dance, but we'll get to that at the what doesn't work section, okay? It's basically your extra button to deliver some more damage and get a little bit of movement speed plus access to ambush. Nothing too big here. There's a lot to talk about on what doesn't work about Shadow Dance. Another cool thing that works is Cold Blood. And this, first of all, would be great for a big ass envenom, like during Shadow Dance with amplifying poison and a shiv window. It's beautiful. And big envenoms for that isn't like really what you're looking for necessarily for Assassination. The thing you want it to work for is actually the bleeds. And it might work on bleeds, at least from what we know from the devs and stuff. It's just not properly implemented on the alpha client. And this is the true value we would get as Assassin Rogues, guaranteed crits on bleeds. So when you pop that and you put a Garrote on, those ticks of Garrote would be all crits. Same thing for Rupture. There's also a new poison in the talent tree called Amplifying Poison. Now, this will stack to 20, and Envenom will consume 15 of them to deal 30% increased damage. There was a 20k on normal hits versus a 26k on combat logs, and this wasn't the first build of the alpha because currently Envenom doesn't consume the stacks. But you can still see the differences when Envenom consumed the Amplifying Poison to deal a little bit more damage. Poison Bomb is one of the most loved abilities. I personally loved it since Legion and stuff, and this is the thing. Now it only works off of Envenom, but the proc rate has been increased. Before, it was a 4% proc chance per combo point spent on Envenom or Rupture. Now it's 5% per combo point spent on Envenom, and this only on the first rank. Second rank gives you 10% chance, so you're looking at a 50% chance to proc Poison Bomb, and I'm telling you, it procs a lot. It's beautiful. For dungeons, it's exquisite. We also have Zoldik, the Zoldik legendary from Shadowlands. It's now a talent. It works as you would know it works. 30% increased damage to bleeds and poisons while the targets are below 30% HP. I tested this, but kind of like at a very huge handicap because the targets were dying way too fast in order to see the true value of this. But you can still see it, like when they implement proper Mythic Plus stuff, then we can get some proper testing ground for it. Tiny Toxic Blade is also here, and this is like a 500% increased damage for Shiv. And then also it doesn't have any more energy cost. So it's a good talent, specifically for single target. You can definitely see this play out in raids. Really good. King's Bane is back, but it's tuned poorly. Like, listen, there's a lot of discussion to be had around this. Now, I was super hyped to see King's Bane put in the talent tree. Is basically one of the 3 capstones now on the Assassination tree. Now, here's the thing, right? Because the general rogue talent tree has a lot of amplifiers to combo point generating abilities, stuff like, I don't know, deadly precision and lethality, and King's Bane is technically a combo point generator. Now, this would sum up into some ridiculous results. It's speculation at this point, but the general consensus for King's Bane is to have it work on its own and not be a degenerate ability built up by all the combo point generator buffs. I don't know, maybe remove the combo point generator aspect or something, but currently it's underwhelming and there's still a lot of iteration to be had on it. Another capstone, which I kind of liked, is the indiscriminate Carnage, which is a new thing, right? So once you press this, your next growth and your next rupture will be applied to all enemies within 10 yards. And this works fine, and it tends to minimize the maintenance you need as Assassination to keep up bleeds on multiple targets. Being on a 1.5 minute cooldown though seems a bit too much. Possibly 1 minute cooldown would feel much better, but I think it's a step in the right direction. A lot of folks would not be so attracted to play Assassination in dungeons just because of the high uptime you have to maintain on all of your bleeds and stuff. So this is a very good way to address that. Just maybe lower the goddamn cooldown from it, okay? Now, moving along to what doesn't work. First off, there's the improved growth talent. Now, once you growth a target from stealth, it places it immediately on cooldown, even with improved growth. And this is an issue because the same goes for Shadow Dance. It doesn't enable stealth growth. Now, I tried this on target dummies, I tried this in dungeons. I basically was just sitting there, I pressed my Shadow Dance, I went and growthed a target. It did not silence it. It did not basically do what growth does when you cast it from stealth. And from what I know, the intent here is to have Shadow Dance affect all of these assassination abilities as well. But currently, it doesn't work, and this is what I was referring to in the beginning of the video. It's a pity because Shadow Dance had this big-ass chance to enable some more, I would say, versatility in the gameplay, because it will allow you to access and deliver those growths from Shadow Dance and working as silencers and giving the 50% extra damage and all of that. And also the fact that improved growth, it's either bugged or they want to change it, or I don't know. But if I don't have subterfuge, I basically cannot grow more than one target, and this kind of beats the purpose. Improved growth should have its cooldown removed once you cast it from stealth, and this doesn't happen, right? I told you, it just places it immediately on cooldown. Probably an alpha bug. We'll see in future builds how this goes. There's also a trophic poison. This poison reduces the damage of the target by 3%. This is not yet implemented, so we can do really much with it. Death Mark. Now, this is the cooldown that replaces the old Vendetta, but once again, it doesn't appear to be working, or at least there is no visual cue for it. I mean, even looking at the combat log, it doesn't appear to be duplicating anything, and it should duplicate things like growth, rupture, poisons, and all of that. Nothing there. So once again, we shall wait and see. It's kind of a pity because Vendetta used to be our biggest cooldown. Okay, it was a tad boring, I admit. And Death Mark definitely does look a little bit more interesting, but we cannot really see how it works and how it feels. Lethal Dose. Now, this will deal a percentage damage to the targets for each of your poison and bleeds onto them. It's not implemented. This is only, the damage is only amplified for those specific poisons and bleeds, right? So it's not all the damage increase, okay? It doesn't amplify the general damage, just for those poisons and bleeds, but could not be tested, not implemented yet. Dragon Temper Blades is the third capstone we checked out. This basically allows you to apply an additional lethal and non-lethal poison to your weapons. Again, I tried it, it doesn't work. It just replaces the poisons all over the place. So pretty bad, pretty sad I could not test this. It would be interesting. Now you gotta realize, having shit gear, shit haste, a lot of input lag from the alpha client, this really did not help. Plus the fact that this build was tuned super way off for what we could do in heroic dungeons. You can imagine it wasn't the ideal testing environment for an assassination rogue. It's basically a pain when everything dies fast, because you kind of work to put bleeds on everybody and check out everything. But even so, even with this, right, excluding the fact that all warriors are tuned the fuck out of their mind. I mean, protection deals bigger damage than evokers and stuff. Even with these in mind, Assassination felt pretty awesome, and that the damage was there, was really good. The playstyle was smooth. Granted, I did talent into a lot of energy generation stuff, you know, like the Vigor and Venomous Wounds and Seal of Fate, like, because I remember from the first build, I had a lot of energy problems, so I just wanted to make sure that this doesn't occur anymore. And I went to the full-on energy generation route, which felt pretty good, and the damage was still there. I tested King's Bane, it was shit, like I told you. I tested Zoldik. I mean, it was, for the most part, as, you know, again, targets were dying so fast, it did its job pretty well. But I think the biggest fun I had was actually with the indiscriminate Carnage talent, which kind of saved me a couple of big-ass mob packs to be able to, you know, not go on to tap target everybody and put Rupture and Garrote over there. That was pretty neat as well. In boss fights, Deathmark didn't really do shit, so I couldn't really say, like, wow, this is such a good replacement for Vendetta. It didn't show. Maybe it did it in the background, but from the combat logs and from what I was looking at on the screen, it didn't seem to be working. Overall, I say I still think Assassination is a beautiful spec on the Dragonflight Alpha, and things are looking really neat. Obviously, there's still a lot of work to be done to it. As I've said in the beginning, on paper, Assassination, the synergy all of the talents have with the general rogue tree and all of the spec, the Assassination tree, they work really, really good. And you have to remember, the first, like, pathing of the tree was different rather than this fourth build of the alpha. That's also pretty neat. I love the fact that they put Poison Bomb to have a much higher proc chance. Granted, Rupture doesn't proc it anymore, it's only a Venom, but that's all good. As like a very, very early impression, I would say things are looking very bright for Assassination Rogue, and it may be finally I would say, window to actually have them be fun and relevant in Mythic Plus in Dragonflight, especially due to the indiscriminate Carnage talent, which if they reduce it to maybe 1 minute, or who knows, maybe in Mythic Plus where you have, like, you know, a little bit more time to kill mobs. It takes a little bit more time to kill mobs in hierarchies or whatever. Maybe the 1.5 minute cooldown would actually be okay. We'll still have to wait for, like, the beta for the actual, like, Mythic Plus testing that will be further on. But up until that point, I'm pretty satisfied with Assassination. I love it. It felt way better than Shadowlands, and, you know, I'm a big my first love is Subtlety, my second is Assassination. I'm looking forward to testing it a little bit more. But let me know what you think in the comments. Are you interested? Are you curious? Are you excited about Assassination? Let me know in the comments what you think based on what you saw, what you read, what you, like, checked on Wowhead or whatever. And big thank you to the Patreons for supporting this type of content, plus a lot of other stuff that we do. We are mainly focused now on whatever is to come from the alpha. But if you are interested in joining the Patreon family, check the link in the description. We have, like, custom wallpapers for, you know, your main character. We have, like, bloopers, Patreon monthly chats where we generally talk about WoW, but sometimes, you know, we have Patreons, you know, chip in with ideas and feedback for the content, so that's always welcome. Link is in the description. It means the world to us. And thank you for watching the video. We shall see you on the next one. Bye-bye!
I've been loving it then, I still love it now. Still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. Getting better every day, let me show you how. Cause still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. It's getting harder to stay, but at the end of the day, it's a guilty pleasure, so just log in and play. Whether it's classic or retail, I'ma do a /bow. Still, I play WoW.